Welcome to Caregivers and Community Connection. Of course, I'm Sharon Kelly, and I'm your host right here every Saturday and Sunday morning, 11 a.m. on Saturday and 8:30 a.m. on Sunday morning, right here on Comcast Cable, Channel 96. I want to welcome you all into Mocha this morning. And in the studio with me, I'm bringing a piece of Brainerd Road to you this morning, and my friend, Mr. Mike Stuart. Welcome, Mike.
Welcome, Sharon. So glad to be here.
Thank you so much for coming in this morning and talking to me about business. I am so excited about just doing business with each other and growing what we have started doing here in the city of Chattanooga with the Chattanooga Community Business Professionals.
Yes.
And having you to be a sponsor of that event and getting a chance to just kind of get you in one place to talk about it. You know, you during the month that you actually sponsored, you were all over the place. So I couldn't get you, but I had to bring you back today because your product and your service is something that needed to be talked about in this community. And I want to give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about what you do down there with Advantage Windows.
Thank you so much, Sharon. I do apologize. You know, during that month, it was the home show, which is Tri-State Home Show, which is a big event for us. You know, we set up down there. In fact, proud to say we're one of the few African-American vendors set up at the Trade Center for that show. And we get probably 30% of our business for the year from that show.
Wow.
So it's a big event, and we plan for it. We plan all year for it, and then it's a week-long event for us. And when it's over, then we have to work and follow up on a lot of things. But I'm so glad to be here, and you know, I kind of feel, you know, I'm very close to you. I kind of feel like I had a little bit to do with you getting started, and every time I look at what you're accomplishing and what you do, I just have this big smile on my face because I'm just so happy to see us. We've grown up together.
Right.
You know, we've cried together.
True.
You know, we've struggled together, and we've celebrated together. This is one of those times I'm just so glad to be here.
I think I am excited to be able to see here with an entrepreneur as yourself and get a chance to give people a little roadmap of our lives, Michael, and what we had to be able to come through in order to get where we are today. A lot of times people don't know the story behind our glory. They just seem to feel like, well, you know, wow, they doing it. But it's not always easy, especially when you're working with people such as our families.
Yes.
And trying to grow our business and coming from a community where you grew up. You and I, we grew up in the same community of Alton Park, which we're both proud of.
Very.
And we walked to school together from the first grade.
Yes.
And it's sort of like you're my big brother, but really we're the same age, so I guess I can't be your big sister. But I mean, you know, it's just like you said, we had a part to do with each other's lives, even through worship.
Yes.
And even through, you know, business now. So through education, all the realms of life that we've been there for each other.
Well, Sharon, you know, coming from Alton Park and growing up around the corner, seeing businesses grow, and then also seeing businesses fail. I remember when the Chattanooga Glass Company closed, you know, being young and watching how it devastated our community. You remember how many people in our community worked at the Chattanooga Glass Company. And my father working at Ross Meehan Foundry. You have men that worked at foundries for 15, 20, 30 years, and then it closed and left them with no retirement. You know, I started at a young age thinking that if there was any way possible, I would want to start my own. Find a niche, perfect that niche, and then start a business that would be successful.
One of the things I can say about you, Mike, this is a business that you have now, but you've had multiple businesses. I mean, and everybody can't say that. You know, when one go down, you know about wiping yourself off, getting up, and going out at another one. That's something that I saw you do.
Well, you know, it takes. They say it's not how many times you get knocked down, how many times you get back up. And being the first generation business owners or entrepreneurs in my family, it was a lot of trial and error. I knew the area I wanted to be in, But once you get in an area, then you start learning that craft, learning that area, and learning that industry. Then you find out that you're competing against people that had 2 and 3 generations that have built those businesses, and you're right out of the starting block. So it was tough, you know, my first 15 years in business, but now, you know, I've been an entrepreneur since 1984.
I remember one of the things that I deal with each and every day, you were the first, and that was the lift on buses.
That's
to
correct.
be able to carry handicapped individuals from one location to another.
That's correct.
And you were very instrumental in making that happen.
Well, actually, we put the first wheelchair lift on the Carter bus here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. We partnered with a group out of Minnesota. And Sharon, I'll never forget this. One of the board members at the time, her name was Jill. Can't remember her last name, but she was a quadriplegic, and she was in a wheelchair. And of course, she said, "Mike, I have a question. The first set of wheelchair lifts we installed in the back of the bus." And she said, "Why do we have to get on the back of the bus? Why can't we come through the front door?" And that stuck with me. And so it was a couple of years later that I called Carter and asked them if they had wrecked the bus, and I asked them if they would allow me to develop a front door wheelchair lift for that bus. And they gave me the bus, and a year later we actually had the first front door lift for a transit bus, and the disabled could come through the front of the bus instead of the back of the bus.
I love that. Now, that is excellent. And I bet you a lot of people was not aware of the fact that you were instrumental in helping that development of just that little creation. And being an African American, I can understand about getting on the back of the bus.
Yes.
And you want to get on the front of the bus. So now when we see the buses drop down to the curb,
Yes.
and then people get on from the front of the bus that's handicapped, that all came from something that you started.
Started right here in Chattanooga, Tennessee, world-class transportation. And you know, Sharon, one of the things I'm most proud of is there's a plaque in Washington, D.C. You know, I served with the Clinton administration briefly during that year, and I chaired the Technology Transfer Subcommittee under the Clinton administration, and had an opportunity to work on a bus. It was we were doing a civil rights program, and one of the congressmen was in a wheelchair, and the bus came to pick him up, and the lift wouldn't work.
Wow.
And so we couldn't get on the bus because the lift had stopped. And what I did was I actually took my coat off. I asked for some tools, and I got under the ground, and I repaired that lift and got that congressman on that bus. And little did I know that from that, there's a plaque in Washington that says, Great African Americans in Transportation. And it talks about Mr. McCoy, who developed the coupling for the train, the real McCoy. A lot of people aren't aware that an African American developed the traffic light.
Wow.
And so there have been great African Americans in transportation, but my name is actually on that plaque. It says Mike Stuart, World Class Transportation, Chattanooga, Tennessee. So I was honored when they did that for me. But that was a season. That season came and it went. And now we're doing something dealing with home improvement, and we've really been successful at that.
Well, you've been great in the industry of my business. I know several years ago, I went back and bought that old building that was a nursing home in the community of Alton Park.
Yes.
That we weren't even allowed to go on the grounds back then. It was Mountain View Nursing Home, and just think now on that,
Yes.
Rosa Sharon Senior Villa.
Yes.
And you put windows in that building, the entire building.
Yes.
21 windows to be exact. I still remember, and did a great job to help me save on energy and take care of my seniors there at Rosa Sharon Senior Villa, as well as the roofing.
Yeah, we did your roof too. Yes.
You helped me out with the roofing. We had that flat roof, and we were able to put a pitch roof on the building and do some things to make sure that, because if the roof cave in, you didn't have no business. So, it's all those things that a lot of people don't understand. But did you just hear what I said? I was able to do business with you.
Yes.
And
yes.
circulate those dollars to you.
Yes.
Same thing, you were able to do business with me because you had a product and a service that I needed. And that's one of the things that I want us to look at in the community in regards to building each other up, in regards to building businesses. Our president now, President Barack Obama, he started at a grassroots level building businesses. And he went back into those communities, such as Alton Park and East Chattanooga, Brainerd Road Art District, and made it viable, livable again, where merchants were doing business, people were developing business, growing wealth right in their neighborhood. So that's something that I want me and you to talk about today. Tell people what we're thinking about doing right here from the Missionary Ridge Tunnel down to Advantage Windows, of course.
That's from
right
Brainerd
here
Road.
on Brainerd Road. So you and I both were on Brainerd.
Sharon, you just said something that everyone has a need, but you mentioned what that need was. We've always communicated, and had you not reached out to me saying, Mike, we got these old windows, my people are cold. Sharon, here's how I can help you. And then when it came with the roof, you said, Mike, I have a problem. Can you help me? And that's one of the things that we have to do more of. You have to let people know what your needs are, because I may have the talent to do that, or I may know someone else that has the talent that can fulfill that. But from communicating, networking, talking, finding out what each other's talents are. It's just like with you and your the building over on Ralston.
Right.
When you were looking to purchase that building, we talked about what your plan was, what you wanted to accomplish, and we went in together and we went through the bidding process, got that property. Same thing with my building on Brainerd Road. I own that building on Brainerd Road, and it was through that same process. By helping you, I learned a process, and then went on to buy and own my building along with other property. So as we learn, we grow.
That's it.
And that's what I'm so excited about, just hearing looking at what you've done here at MOCA.
It's exciting time. And we're going to talk about it in just a minute. We'll be right back with part 2
All right.
of Caregivers and Community Connection.
All right.
Welcome back to Caregivers and Community Connection. Of course, this morning I got Mr. Mike Stuart in the house, and when Mike and I get together, it's just exciting times because we're able to sit and reminisce just really over our life here in Chattanooga. Most of the time, Mike, what I get a lot of times, people feel like they have to leave their community in order to grow. And one of the things that you and I have been able to do is to stay right here in our city.
Stay right at home. Stay right home.
And I mean, which is a good thing. And we can be an example for somebody else who probably thinking about leaving.
Well, Sharon, you're not going to leave Howard. I mean, Alton Park, Frank Trotter, Howard, that's us. You know, I briefly went to Atlanta when I worked on a project there for the Olympics, the 96 Olympics, and I commuted. I couldn't move to Atlanta. I stayed there, but I still kept my house here, and I came back and forth. Chattanooga will always be home, and just the friendship and the bond that we have. I know I can pick the phone up. I can call you.
Definitely.
We can bounce stuff off each other, and that's where this friendship has come. But also, not only is it a friendship, but it is an association.
Definitely. I know you understand business. So when I'm talking business, usually I connect with you in some sort of way to talk about what I feel like our community is lacking. And you were one of the first people that came on board when I mentioned the First Fridays of what I wanted to do. I want to take First Friday. I researched that thing out and I looked at what people were doing across the country. So this is not a wheel that I invented. It was one that I jumped on. And I said, well, instead of always talking about a party, why don't we do something different on First Friday and actually bring businesses together for a couple of hours as well as customers.
Yes.
And share business cards and network and build relationships.
That's the key word, networking with an agenda. If you take networking, and networking has been done throughout history. It's just like I remember listening to Bob Corker when he was discussing the Volkswagen project. And one of the key things he said was the first meeting, the first discussions about Volkswagen happened at his dining room table.
And that was amazing to me that he would say that. But I listened to you a few minutes ago when you constantly talked about all the places you had been in the Clinton administration and in the first lift on the bus. That came because you had a relationship with someone that understood your character.
Yes.
And knew that you were ready to do this next step in this next venture that you got to be a part of. But if we don't speak up, we don't get an opportunity to participate on the level of what you and I are talking about today.
Sharon, everybody has someone in their life that has influenced them. And for me, starting out as an entrepreneur, of course, my father, Curtis Stuart, always told me, he said, son, you do your best work under pressure. He'd always tell me that. But it takes that one person, and I know you have someone that has pushed you, but we had a gentleman that came through Chattanooga, and he was like a whirlwind. He came and he went. But while he was here, that was Art Barnes. He was the assistant executive director at Carter. And his number one goal when he came to Chattanooga was to see that African Americans grew businesses through Carter. He went out and found printers. He went out and found people that could clean. He went out and found anything, any service that Carter gave. He found someone in the African American community that could provide that service. And he pushed you. And when I say pushed, he pushed you until you became the person that could handle those contracts. And I commend him for that, because it takes a person with drive and commitment that really have a passion to see African American businesses grow to take on a task like that. He's in Winston-Salem, North Carolina right now, managing the Winston-Salem transit system. But we talk constantly because he was a mentor to me. He pushed me to go in a direction. He took me out of my comfort zone and pushed me to start working on transit buses and then moving on to rail cars.
I'm glad you said out of your comfort zone. That's what I tell people to do every First Friday. Come out of your comfort zone. Come up here with your business cards. Go meet some people that you don't know. Engage in conversation. Begin to develop that relationship and watch where it takes you. Another thing that I heard you say is about putting people where they need to be. A lot of times people try to be in lanes that they're not ready for, nor are they prepared for.
So true.
And if everybody, such as in the community of Chattanooga, that's in the business community, if we begin to work together and say, I'm good with senior care, or I'm good with bringing on events, I'm good in gathering people, you good at doing windows, you good at maybe sitting down and galvanizing people together on transportation who might be interested in it. And then we got a website designer. And then we got someone that owns a shoe company. We got hairdressers. Well, if we take all those things and we put them together, then now we got a package.
What you end up with is now you have a group of individuals, everyone has their own expertise. And now we can take this, bring the outside community in and say, here are all these services, here's what we can do. Just like at Advantage Windows. You know, we started out just doing windows, storm windows, vinyl windows, and now we're doing roofing, doors, remodeling, everything that needs to be done to the outside of a house. That started from that first step, which was to take on having a product that would save people money, that would lower their utility bills so that they would end up paying less to EPB and Chattanooga Gas Company. And now EPB has even gotten on board where now they're actually paying, they'll give you money to put windows in to lower your utility bills, because everyone understands the energy consumption, Sharon, is growing. Well, here at Mocha, you pay.
I understand.
I know you write a check every month. The energy consumption is going up so high that TVA is not able to meet the demand. So they're having to purchase power outside. So it's in their benefit to help bring this down so that they can control their market. And that's what we're helping to do at Advantage Windows.
I like that. And you know, because a lot of people don't look at it. Even when I did the senior services, I just said I have an adult day center. So if people want to stay at home, we can provide them a service, and they need to continue to work, or caregiver just need a break, or say you need some help with a bath, a housekeeping. We got Sharon's in-home personal care. Well, say they're not ready for a nursing home, but they need an assisted living. So we developed Rosa Sharon Senior Villa. So we packaging deals, but we're packaging deals to people's needs.
Well, Sharon, people don't realize just you're a wealth of knowledge. And I can attest, Chattanooga, when I went through the series of situations with my own mother in Atlanta, even though she was in Atlanta, you helped me tremendously knowing what to do. My mom has Alzheimer's. And when she went through that phase, just knowing where to put her, how to go about to navigate through that sea of paperwork. You're just a wealth of knowledge, Sharon. And I say you're my consultant. Chattanooga, she is my consultant. I can consult with her, but that's what you do. You go to people who know, and you get the knowledge from them.
Well, I always tell people, if you're sick, you shouldn't go to a lawyer. And if you need help and you're in trouble, you don't need to go to a doctor if it's a law problem.
That's right.
You need to know who to go to for whatever problems that you have. And most of the time, we just talk to people who can't even make any kind of difference.
They can't help you.
I mean, you know, and I just find it to be a pleasure to have you as a friend, a business partner that has always been around me all my 50-something years on this earth. Well, that's okay. It's all right.
It's all right.
Sometimes it's good for people to know. But I'm thankful, because a lot of people are not living to be our age, and they're not where we are. And it's not because they weren't given the same opportunity.
That's true.
At the same time.
And most of them don't look as good. You know, I'm sorry. I had to throw that in there.
Oh, okay. But anyway, is there anything you would like to say before we end our show today?
Yes, I would, Sharon. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Chattanooga, Advantage Windows, we sponsor the First Friday because we're truly committed to building business and building homes in Chattanooga. We started a roofing division, and Sharon, it's just taken off. That's why I've been so busy. Advantage Roofing is now doing roofing throughout the Chattanooga, Cleveland, Dalton areas. And we're providing complete new roofing for your home, along with vinyl siding, windows, and doors. So if you have a need, Chattanooga, give us a call. You can look us up on the web at AdvantageWindows.com, or you can call us at 423-629-7070. We're right here on Brainerd Road, across from the old Food Lion, right down the street from Mocha.
That's right.
And it'll be our pleasure to make you part of the Advantage family.
Okay, thank you so much, Mike.
Thank you so much, Sharon. I really
today.
enjoyed this
Thank
too.
you.
Thank you.